violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Gathering in Sandtown, Winchester, rallying for a summer of peace.
I do have hope in my community that it will get better. So it really touched my heart to see that people really care about us from the outside and who will be willing enough to come in and help our children get a start on life.
Neighbors joining forces with the community group We Are Us.
We want the better for our city. We want to change the narrative. We want things to get better. And they don't get better by us isolating ourselves. No man is an island, no man stands alone.
While working on preventing violence, they are reflecting on lives impacted and lost. Gunfire this past weekend at the Inner Harbor injured a 17-year-old girl and killed 17-year-old Neil Mack.
Oh, man. Young brother right here, taken out. You know, it appears that he was trying to do the right thing, man. He got the Our Hood, Our Job hoodie, so that kind of gives me an indicator that he was willing and ready to take accountability for the current state of the community. And unfortunately, like I said, man, the best of us are getting taken out by the worst of us. So the people who see these issues and identify them and push toward movements that can rectify what's going on in the community, a lot of times they're snuffed out. And it's sad.
Neil Mack. Also Saturday night, police found two men shot inside a car on Northeast Avenue. One victim died at the scene. A 35-year-old man was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police also located a third victim, a 31-year-old man who died. And Sunday, just before noon, police found a 15-year-old male with multiple gunshot wounds. That shooting occurred on North Luzerne Avenue.
When we talk about violence in Baltimore and this country, we have to have a deeper conversation than we've been having for the time that I've been alive, and understanding that the access to guns, the ignoring the symptoms and the mental health and behavioral health, they're ignoring the disinvestment and the poverty in this country.
Ignoring the fact that most of this activity is coming from super gremlins on demon time. You know, the brother Brandon Scott, he's really good at using these buzzwords and these talking points and these phrases to skirt what's really going on, okay? We have a culture issue, we have a family issue, we have a values issue in the community. And that's why this is happening nationally, because you open the floodgates up, these super gremlins are you know, committing crimes and then getting back on the streets, and there isn't a, you know, aura of accountability coming their way, because they know that they can just play the victim card and, oh, mental health, or poverty, or, you know, it gives them an excuse, it gives them an out. And that's exactly what Brandon Scott is doing, giving them an excuse, okay? Deflecting with these fancy buzzword terms and phrases that he essentially is getting from the leftist media.
All of that has led to where we are today.
In a social media post describing Neil Mack, the leader of the community organization Tandea Family wrote the teen was one of the group's interns. Neil was a funny young man, a leader. Yes, Neil was stubborn, moody at times, and struggling to find his way like most teenage boys, but he had great potential. He told of his dreams. He took accountability for his mistakes, and though he appeared tough, beneath that was a young man that was genuine, sensitive, and loving if you earned his trust.
So, you know, sounds like he was troubled. I was kind of right when I said he looked like he was taking accountability just from that hoodie. You know, somebody who doesn't take accountability isn't going to wear a hoodie, you know, saying our hood, what did it say? Our hood, our problem or something like that. But he's not going to wear that type of hoodie, okay? And it just goes to show that, you know, maybe he was troubled. He was going through some things, but he was working through it.
We are dedicated now more than ever to serve the Neils of our community. And that is together with other community groups, including We Are Us.
These young men need mentors. They need models. They need folk who are going to invest.
What about they need fathers? Okay. Notice he didn't mention fathers.
Invest in their lives. They need to see something different.
Again, this is the first in a series of summer events for young people. This is going to last until 8 o'clock tonight. And the group We Are Us and those who were gathered for that rally earlier for the Summer of Peace, they're going to be coming down here to Rashfield as well. Reporting live from downtown Baltimore, Barry Sims, WBAL TV 11 News.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for staying up late with us. I'm Mary Bubala. Another Memorial Day in the city marred by violence, with tragic evidence the crime plan from the mayor doesn't appear to be working. Take a look at this map. Each day since Friday, somebody has been killed in our city. 9 people shot, total 4 of them killed. Woo! One of the shootings before sundown yesterday at the Inner Harbor. It was crowded with residents and tourists for Memorial Day weekend. 2 teenagers were shot in the chest, one of them killed. Riel Creighton leads us off tonight with more on the violent weekend.
Mary, the shooting of a 17-year-old girl, the killing of a 17-year-old boy right in Baltimore's downtown Inner Harbor near the waterfront is driving new fears, new questions for some about safety across the city.
A city skyline gleaming over the water, the backdrop on a busy holiday weekend in the Inner Harbor filled with families and tourists, also juxtaposed with murder. By early evening, the brick amphitheater cordoned off with crime tape and police markers covering shell casings for a deadly double shooting. 2 teenagers gunned down, both 17, shot in the upper body. The teenage boy, now identified as Mac Neal, later pronounced dead.
I couldn't believe it because, you know, Inner Harbor is the safest place in Baltimore City.
Larry Wallace is a popular radio host with thousands of followers who was also on the scene Saturday night. He says a killing right on the promenade is unheard of.
People are just going to stop coming to the Inner Harbor now.
Yep. He said it. People gonna stop coming. They gonna stop pulling up. Like I've been saying since the beginning of the time, these super gremlins are messing up the business.
Especially the tourists.
It doesn't make sense to have such a nice area and all these shootings and killings everywhere.
We heard the same from stunned visitors and residents alike.
It's definitely gonna make me open my eyes now.
Not safe out here for no kids, no adults, no nobody.
In an area teeming with law enforcement, roughly 20 officers said the commissioner there to hear the gunshots ring out.
But this is about them doing this right in front of the police. So this is about their bad decision to do this in spite of having police officers. So
the brazenness, they don't care. They don't see consequences. They don't think that consequences will be administered. Because they've seen they homie do drive-bys and do carjackings and rob people at gunpoint and get off on supervised release. So they're pushing the envelope.
It's a bigger conversation than deployment.
Baltimore's history of deadly violence on Memorial Day weekend painfully repeating itself right on cue. 4 dead from Saturday into Sunday morning, including a triple shooting with a single survivor. Later, a woman found shot dead inside of her car. What actually began Friday with murder in the 1900 block of Wolf. But it's homicide in the heart of the Inner Harbor that Wallace fears is a new low and what's turning out to be an extra long weekend.
If you're not safe in the Inner Harbor, Baltimore is a rat. It's no safe anywhere.
Woo! You heard him, hey. And he's a coon and Uncle Tom sellout for saying that. Don't let that go over your head. He's definitely, by the Communitas standard, he's definitely an Uncle Tom for saying that. He said if there's a killing in the harbor, throw the whole Baltimore away. It's over.
And what's turning out to be an extra long weekend.
If you're not safe in the Inner Harbor, Baltimore is a rat. It's no safety anywhere.
It is a long weekend that is far from over. Tonight, the hunt is still on for the gunman in that shooting in the Inner Harbor. As of the last update, that 17-year-old girl was in stable condition. Reporting in Baltimore tonight, Riel Creighton, Fox 45 News.
Some say the violence is a result of a lack of consequences. Tonight, business owners in and around the harbor are calling for change. Fox 45's Maxine Stryker joins us live to explain what they want. Maxine?
Well, Kai, some say that Saturday night shooting in the harbor, where nearly 24 officers were around, is a sign that criminals don't care who's watching, because ultimately they feel they can get away with it.
What I tell you, no consequences. They fear none.
The Inner Harbor was once the heart of Baltimore.
The past was beautiful.
Buzzing with life.
10 years ago, 20 years ago.
It's now a picture of pain.
It has changed.
And empty.
What has changed about the Inner Harbor? Please tell us in the chat, in the comments section, what has been the change?
Emptiness.
People are afraid and are leaving.
Saturday night, 2 teenagers were gunned down in the Inner Harbor. One, identified as Neil Mack, was later pronounced dead. And earlier this month, more chaos at the harbor when dozens of kids were seen running along Pratt Street.
It probably keeps people away. You know, when you see a large group of kids, even if they're being peaceful, it could be a little bit daunting.
You see him twiddling his thumbs. He nervous. He nervous calling out the super gremlins, because it's not just a large group of kids. No. There are certain indicators that make you get a little nervous. They posted up, pants sagging, laughing all loud, blunt wraps, blunt papers everywhere. Okay? It's not just a group of kids. It's the super gremlins on demon time.
You see a large group of kids, even if they're being peaceful, it could be a little bit daunting.
The commonplace crime has business owners like Tony Asadi crying out for help.
People are dying. Crime is crime.
Well, they're black people, so I'm gonna tell you right now, if they're not being killed by a cop or a white supremacist glider, then it's OV. They're not gonna care. Okay?
But they are killing human beings. That's wrong. That's not right.
Experts say crime permeating every inch of the city, even areas once considered safe.
People is going to stop coming to the Harbor now, especially the tourists.
Comes down to a clear lack of consequences.
If you develop a standard saying what behavior is unacceptable in Baltimore City, what consequences you'll get for that behavior, the messaging will go beyond the person who's immediately impacted by whatever consequence you give them. We have to look beyond that.
All right, see, they started off with lax consequences, people getting, no bond, no cash bond. Okay, supervised release on murders, supervised release on home invasions, burglaries, people getting released from the prisons because of the CV. Okay, now, well, not now, it's gonna take a little while, but once they start changing the punishment and the protocol for how they dealing with these super gremlins, we're gonna have to listen to these folks 10 years down the line talking about they locked up a whole generation. You know what I mean? So we're gonna be back to the same place in 10 years anyway, so I guess enjoy the ride.
It's a culture some say is cultivated by State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby's policies. A culture where it doesn't seem criminals even fear the police. Commissioner Michael Harrison said there were roughly 20 officers in the area at the time of the shooting Saturday.
But this is about them doing this right in front of the police. So this is about their bad decision to do this in spite of having police officers. So it's a bigger conversation than deployment.
Asadi says there needs to be more accountability, not only for criminals, but our city leaders too.
Don't take the C out of charm. We need the C to be Charm City. Otherwise, we are Harm City.
That was a bar.
And despite all of those officers nearby in the harbor Saturday night, the shooter still got away in that shooting that took the life of one 17-year-old man. If you have any information, you should contact the Baltimore police. Reporting live in Baltimore, Maxine Stryker, Fox 45 News.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Kendall Green. Jamie and Kelly had the night off. A Baltimore organization working to uplift our city's youth is now mourning the loss of their own. 17-year-old Neil Mack was shot and killed at the Inner Harbor over the weekend. He was one of several people shot since Friday. WMAR2 News' Ray Strickland has more.
The Tendea family says 17-year-old Neil Mack was one of their youth interns. The organization sharing their heartbreak on social media, but also their commitment to waging a war on the culture of violence in the city, saying they're more dedicated than ever to serving the city's young people. In an Instagram post, the founder of the Tendea family in Baltimore described 17-year-old Neil Mack as a leader and a teenager with great potential. Elijah Miles expressed his anger on social media after learning Mack, one of the organization's youth interns, was shot and killed at the Inner Harbor Saturday. Baltimore police say it happened around 7:30 p.m. The shooting also injured a 17-year-old girl. Miles says Mack will not die in vain, with the organization recommitting itself to providing more resources and training for the city's youth. Mayor Brandon Scott reacted to Mack's murder, saying a deeper conversation is needed about what's fueling the violence.
What we don't need is for people to try to pile on onto the city or come up and say that they have this lightning in a bottle solution, because lightning in a bottle has been a solution every day of my life, and we haven't had it yet.
It sounds like old Brandon Scott don't want to take accountability for what's happening in his city. Nobody's trying to present a lightning in a bottle solution. We're trying to implement a law enforcement solution. Okay? An accountability solution. So when these super gremlins run up in your house, or they shoot something up, or brazenly just shoot into a crowd, or get into an altercation with the police, that the community doesn't back them, nobody backs them, we throw them away, all right? Lock them up, throw them away, and nobody is batting an eye about it. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. These dudes to suffer some consequences, like they're making their victims suffer and their victims' families suffer.
Christina Kelly has lived in Baltimore for 2 decades and shares the same perspective as Mayor Scott.
It is more than just the crime itself. It is an actual systemic issue of education and opportunities in our city for our youth.
Will Green works at the Inner Harbor and knows there are no easy answers to solve the crime problem. But in order to fix it, he says it's going to take a collective effort.
We definitely have a problem right now. It says we definitely have a problem. I think we all need to work together to fix it.
And if you have any information about Mack's murder, you're asked to give police a call. Reporting in Baltimore tonight, Ray Strickland, WMAR2 News.
All right, thanks a lot, Ray. Today is Memorial Day, but for some in Baltimore, it also marks the start of the Summer of Peace. It's a time when people come together to talk about the crime reduction and bettering the city they live in.
They need to stop talking about this Summer of Peace. Just because this is... The community is awful at this. Just because you call it something doesn't mean that it's going to happen like that, okay? Just because you call it a Summer of Peace doesn't mean that it's actually going to be a Summer of Peace. Just because you say Black Lives Matter doesn't actually mean that we're going to take that seriously and agree that, yes, Black Lives Matter. Just because you say Black Girl Magic doesn't mean that all the black women are just going to become magical, okay? So we have to stop doing these things, man. It's not a good look, especially when you calling it a Summer of Peace and then you have 5 people killed over Memorial Day weekend. These super gremlins are on demon time.
Today's event was the first of many that will happen this summer. Organizers say the mission is to ultimately reduce crime and stop the violence in communities.
We are devastated as it relates to gun violence in the community. Most people think that we're desensitive.
Desensitized, brother. Desensitized. But my issue is, why do they think hip hop is gonna solve this solution? Oh, let's have a block party and have hip hop artists come out and spew the same stuff that these dudes are aspiring to be. Okay? Hip hop is not the solution to this issue, bruh. We gotta stop that.
Desensitized to the gun violence in the community. We are just as devastated as somebody looking from the outside in.
So 7 right now, the investigation continues this morning into the murder of a teenage boy at the Inner Harbor.
A teenage girl was also injured in that same shooting. So far, no arrests have been made. WMAR 2 News' Abby Isaacs is live at the Inner Harbor right now. So Abby, what are city leaders saying about that recent double shooting?
Well, even before the violence this weekend, several city council members wanted to see a short-term crime plan by Friday. Now they're doubling down on that, and the mayor speaking out saying that he wants to see more people take personal responsibility over the crime that happens in Baltimore.
What? The only people who need to be taking personal responsibility are the super gremlins on demon time that are committing the crimes.
Now, 7:30 Sunday evening, 17-year-old Neil Mack was murdered at the Inner Harbor, and a 17-year-old girl was shot with him. Mack was an intern for the Tendia family, an organization working to uplift city youth. The founder wrote on social media that he was a leader, a teenager with great potential, who will not die in vain. They're recommitting themselves to providing more resources and training for the city's youth. There's no surveillance video or arrests made in that murder so far, but Mayor Brandon Scott's committed to finding the killer. Speaking at a Summer of Peace event in Baltimore yesterday, pushing for personal responsibility. The community, parents and guardians, city leaders, and the media checking in on the city's young people.
We have to have a deeper conversation than we've been having for the time that I've been alive, and understanding that the access to guns, the ignoring the symptoms and the mental health and behavioral health, they're ignoring the disinvestment and the poverty in this country.
More buzzwords.
All of that has led to where we are today.
Nearly a year ago, Mayor Brandon Scott announced a 5-year plan aimed at reducing violence across Baltimore. He wanted to reduce homicides by 15% annually, but currently, at 137 murders, Baltimore has 3 more than at this point in 2021. Now, here at the Inner Harbor, they are increasing security efforts and intelligence while they determine a long-term plan. We're live in Baltimore. Abby Isaacs, WMAR 2 News.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Medgar Evers, and it's a very tranquil scene compared to just a couple hours ago where a drive-by shooting
just took place. Excuse me, I'm getting live updates as we speak. I've just been updated to the amount of casualties from this drive-by shooting, and I'm getting reports that 2 people were actually declared deceased and 27 others were shot and injured but are in stable condition. And although we must pray for the families of the fallen, we must also praise God for the aim of the super gremlin. If you want to know more about the victims of this crime, make sure you add BGZM News 17 on Patreon at www.patreon.com/blackgenzmindset. Also, don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment on the video to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this gun violence in the streets. For more hard-hitting news coverage from the community, by the community, I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
And cut.
All right, dog. Let's get the out of here before these niggas come back.
Whoa. Yo! Ain't that nigga J?
Nah, that ain't me. That ain't me.
He just went live
That ain't
with
me.
that funky ass suit on. That's that nigga.
That's not me.
Hey, get that nigga.
Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia. Pray for me.
All right, guys. So the moment you all been waiting for, I wanted to talk on this subject just a little bit to show you guys what's going on, in the DMV area. So we've got rapper 23 Rackz shot killed in his own hood, I believe. And he was filming a music video. And the reason why his ops ended up catching up to him, or catching him, quote unquote, lacking, as the community would say, is because he posted his location on social media. He posted his location on his Instagram live story, and now he's not alive anymore. Okay, so let's get into it. Up and coming teen rapper 23 Rackz has been shot dead while filming a music video while in Washington, D.C. The 16-year-old musician was found shot in the southeast section of the district just before 11:30 on Thursday. 23 Rackz, whose real name is Justin Johnson, oh, that's the same name as the guy who killed Young Dolph, released the album Rookie of the Year in 2021 and was considered part of the DMV rap genre. Moments before he was gunned down, Johnson posted on Instagram story sharing his location according to a YouTube account specializing in drill rap content. Cops are reportedly offering a $25,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the teen's killer. More to follow. For the latest news on this story, keep checking back at Sun Online. And we're going to get into his Instagram. So first we're going to look at his live, or his lives right now. It looks like he's got somebody posting for him. Funeral arrangements. They got a viewing at 10, service at 11. It's a private event. And they're saying contact one of the sisters for the details. Colors are white and blue. Very sad situation. It's an ongoing story, but unfortunately, it looks like he was on demon time. Okay, he's posting with gas and all that kind of stuff in the picture. You know, got a sack of weed. And it's like, I'm not really bagging him. It looked like a lot of shake, too. It don't even look like that za. But I'm not even, like, bagging on him for having the weed. It's just like, why are you posting this online? You know, it's just not a good look. This appears to be one of his music videos. I'm not going to play the music. But obviously, Pooh Shiesty mask in the music video. A lot of taunting, a lot of gang signs, a lot of guns. A lot of middle fingers to the camera. And I'm sure this is directed at some of his ops or quote unquote haters. And this is how you get on in hip hop nowadays. Guns, money, drugs in the music video, and beefing. Okay? And it's a bad formula, especially if you want to live long. But it shows the type of character that this young man had, and unfortunately they caught him lacking. They caught him slipping. Apparently he was a very cocky, arrogant guy who was posting his location, and that inevitably got him killed. It looks like he has like ounce baggies bagged up in this picture, and some codeine. Obviously incriminating himself. I don't, for the life of me, understand why these super gremlins continue to incriminate themselves. You've got pictures of drugs and then money. You know, if he didn't get killed, he probably would be in jail, you know. If he didn't get killed, I mean, honestly, they say this lifestyle only takes you jail or hell. It looks like he's gone to the latter. And, you know, I feel bad for the family. But then again, it's like the fruit don't fall far from the tree. So it makes me wonder what his parents were doing, why they weren't saying, hey, you know, you might want to calm down on posting the dope and the lean and the money online. You also might want to calm down with these internet beefs because it's getting people killed. You know, I think that's why having a father is super pivotal, because your mother, she gonna think it's cute. She gonna think all this is cute. She gonna, oh, baby, that was a good music video and all that type of stuff. And, you know, it just got him caught up. Definitely was fresh. I do like these laces in the Air Forces. You know, he was definitely fresh to death. He was doing his thing. had his own style, had his own swag, but like I said, man, his arrogance, his pride eventually led to his downfall.
Gang violence and other kind of violence. So it is what it is.